Okay, everyone, thanks for clearing some time to attend this podcast tonight, or whatever time it is when you're watching this. This is also being recorded too and will be uploaded to YouTube. My name's Spencer. I've been working in social media for a little while now, and I noticed on a couple of Facebook pages, of which I'm a member, there were a number of questions that I felt could just be answered in one blanket series of webinars or videos. So that's my goal today, just to kind of help you understand where I'm at too. I'm not looking for anything in return. This isn't a sales pitch. This is just helping you understand better how to navigate Facebook and promote yourself and your e-commerce or retail or whatever type of store it is that you're using. First, I want to get into the very, very basics, and I apologize if maybe you're a little bit beyond the basics and are looking to refine a little bit more, but there are plenty who haven't even poked their head into Ads Manager yet. So I'd like to start there, and then in future webinars or videos, I will advance into those topics. First off, as a couple of resources to just keep yourself sharpened and refined, I freaking love podcasts. They're the greatest thing on earth. And the two that I really, really like as far as social media marketing and digital marketing are concerned is the Gary V audio experience. He's very cut and dry. He's straight, he's to the point, and he helps you understand what's happening in digital media marketing and what's working for him and the importance of taking risks. He's just a good person to listen to if you're an aspiring entrepreneur. The second one, and probably my favorite, is Perpetual Traffic. And Perpetual Traffic is a fairly established podcast. I've got their feed pulled up here so you can see the types of content that they're running. And it's all really relevant. In fact, more often than not, they're posting about changes that are happening to Facebook's algorithm or keys to quote unquote hacking your way around the algorithm. Though I don't really believe that you can certainly hack Facebook, but there are ways to utilize its algorithm to your advantage. So some of these are 3 Facebook funnels to drive more high-ticket leads, what you need to know about Facebook analytics, 7 Facebook updates that you need to know about. So these are very important. If you're not listening to these, please begin. This is a great way to get started in just understanding and refining your skills in social media too. And then a couple other tools I wanted to show you. I've moved over to my other screen, so I'm hopeful that you can see it. If you can't, please let me know in the comments. A couple of tools I wanted to highlight. First off is Facebook Blueprint, and a lot of people have never heard about this. I actually hadn't heard about Facebook Blueprint until a while back. This is a service of Facebook, and the gist of Facebook Blueprint is teaching you how to create ads so that you as a user of Facebook get the most bang for your buck by being a consumer of the need for ads. It's a free course. In fact, there's multiple courses. And then at the end, you can take a certification test. Last I checked, it was about $150. If you're just doing this for Shopify or Wix or whatever you're running your e-commerce through, I personally believe there really isn't a reason to become certified. And that's mostly because if you're going to get a certification, you're looking to do something in an ads agency or something along those lines. So if this is just for personal use, feel free to go through and just start the courses. I'm going to pull them up just so you can see the types of material that you're dealing with in Blueprint. And you'll have to excuse me too. Sometimes my internet can be pretty fun to work with. Okay, so there's a getting started section, getting started with advertising. Most people who have been on Facebook before and just see it from a consumer's point of view, the getting started section is a breeze. Just helps you understand Facebook pages and creating pages and things along those lines, pretty much basically interacting on Facebook. Then you start getting a little bit more detailed with beginning to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and figuring out the types of audiences you want to create and running TV campaigns with your ads, things like that. So they do get a little bit more detailed, and they do update their material too as new information comes out. So if you're looking for another great way to stay on top of Facebook algorithm, what they're doing, and how you can be the most effective, this is a great way to do it. A couple more tools that I have too. I'm a big fan of this website called Upwork.com. And that's because it's just really good freelance work. Now I'm signed into my account and I'm pretty active on here, so it's bringing me to my jobs posting, but you can find freelancers really easy on this page just by typing in their title. So if I'm looking for a graphic designer, then I can search and find my graphic designer on here. And that's really important too, because as an ads buyer, you really want to make sure that your content is good and not just something that you've thrown together and may look poor. And so I always recommend having someone who knows what they're doing as far as graphics go to make something that is visually appealing and stop scrolling on Facebook. You can also filter some of this too. So you can see some of these guys are kind of expensive, 40, 45, 60. I mean, there are some up here I've seen as high as, yeah, $100 right here. You can put some filters on these too. So if you want to change the hourly rate or how often you're billed or the activity or how much they've earned, and typically the more they've earned, the more refined and successful they are. So that's a really good way. And then if you want to even distinguish it more by category, you can do that too. So if I want someone who's good at logo design and branding, then I would search there, apply the filter, and then it'll bring me up the new list. You can use this for other things too. This is certainly not graphic designer specific. So if you are looking for someone to help you with your SEO, or I mean, a whole number of things, you can hire personal assistants on here. There's really no limitation to what someone will do on Upwork, but it is a really good resource for you. It's free to sign up. Once you do hire someone, you make a payment through Upwork, and it's pretty easy. And then the last resource I have that I really, really love, and this is the one that I really want to highlight, is a website called Fiverr.com. And again, some of you are probably familiar with Fiverr, but again, this webinar is specifically for people who are just beginning out on their e-commerce journey. And this is one I really wanted to highlight too. You can search by field. So if you're looking for a website, you can do programming and tech. If you want to do videos, you can hire someone here. Just for our sake, we're going to click into digital marketing. And one question I see probably 5 times a day on various Facebook ads purchasing or Shopify groups that I'm in is, how do I locate Instagram influencers? And I typically reply with 2 answers to those. Number 1 is find an influencer by searching some type of hashtag, and then find someone with 30,000 plus followers and send them a message and hope that they connect with you. You will probably send 20 messages through Instagram and have 1 reply. And it's well worth your time to do that, because organic posts that are plugged in with an influencer tend to do very well. My second answer is you can actually find influencer marketing here on Fiverr, among other things too, but influencer marketing is a really, really good way to promote your business, and Fiverr does a really good job of helping you find them. So you can see here, I'll promote your business to my 270,000 real Facebook fans. That's pretty impressive, $5. Which most influencers, I just got a bid from one about an hour ago. They wanted $80 for a post and a story, which I really do not want to do. So $5 sounds pretty good. I mean, you can just see, I will search for Instagram influencers. I will find them. I will do a viral video for your promotion, and it goes to this amount of followers. So this is a really good starting point if you're looking to get into influencer marketing, or really just get your website up and going, or get some help with some SEO or website building, things like that. So those are my recommendations for resources. Another good one is YouTube. You can typically find some pretty relevant information there. Be careful with what you use on YouTube though. Always check when the video was posted. Considering that Facebook makes changes very regularly, more often than not, the information is out of date. In fact, they just changed recently from a tool called Power Editor to their new version, which is Ads Manager. And I'll be going over that a little bit today. So those are the tools that I really like. I hope you found them useful too. And I just want to show you, let's see, I'm going to go to my Facebook page. Let's see, I'm on the spot now, so. Okay, so let's pull up, this is my wife's e-commerce store. And it's called Empowered Print. She sells t-shirts. It's a print-on-demand e-commerce company. So we do like motivational shirts and things like that. And so I just want to show you the structure of her page and things that are do's and things that are do nots when it comes to your Facebook page. You can see it's a pretty new page. We're 5 weeks in, and things are going really well for us so far. First off, with your page, you need to have some credibility behind it, and credibility is often found in content that you're posting, and it's also found in like the number of likes that you have and things like that. And there are a good number of ways to boost both of those. One thing that I always recommend though is avoid like the plague, this promote button down here. This is a really quick and cheap way to give Facebook money, and in my own opinion, not get a whole lot in return. And I'll show you how you can bypass that promote button and get to something a lot more defined. But I always recommend that people steer clear and avoid that promote button. Or when you make posts too, typically there's a boost post button, and that brings up virtually the same thing. And it's incredibly frustrating because it feels like you're throwing money into the wind. And it's really important, especially when you're first starting an e-commerce store, that you hang on to that money, because that's really important for you. And you do that through a tool called Ads Manager. And you get to it by going to business.facebook.com. And more often than not, people that I meet have never been to this website or really are even aware that it actually exists. So please just keep in mind that this is a free service of Facebook that you can use to manage your ads and figure out how you're doing and see your analytics. I'm going to jump back into my business manager here. You can see I do a couple ads managers. I have one for a local cleaning company. I manage their ads as well. And then I do my wife's with Empowered Print. It's fairly easy to create an ads manager account. When you go to business.facebook.com, if you have not created an account before, there's a button right in the middle of the page. It tells you to create an account. You will need to find your page, and if you only have one page, that's really easy. I've met people that have like 30 different Facebook pages, and that can be kind of something to rifle through and probably an unnecessary amount of pages. But you'll add your page, and then you'll create an ads account. And if you can't figure out how to do that, there's plenty of YouTube videos that show you how to do that. But your ad account is essentially the back end of your Facebook page. And what I mean by that is you can do virtually anything on your page from this section. And this is really where you want to be managing your Facebook page from, as opposed to doing it on facebook.com and finding your page and then making a post on behalf of that page. You really want to be doing it back from here. And like I mentioned, you really want to start building credibility in your page. And like I said, primarily that's done through page likes and quality content. And then posting as well, but you guys are already doing that, I'm sure. And page likes are actually super fun with Facebook. You can do a page likes campaign, and you'll notice I've got a bunch of campaigns here. Most of them are off except for this one, which is scheduled for tomorrow. So I currently don't have any ads running, but I can show you what I've been doing. And this is a page likes campaign. You create a page likes campaign by clicking this green create button. It will load a creation. By the way, there are two views for this ads manager. There's a quick creation and guided creation. I'm in quick creation right now. Guided creation to me is sloppy and unorganized, and I'm not a huge fan of it. So I typically just avoid that one. If it's easier for you, go ahead and use it, but I'm not a huge fan. But when I click that green create button, it will ask me for a campaign, an ad set, and an ad, and I'll define those in a minute. But to start a page like campaign, you want to change your objective to page likes. And that's going to target people who are more likely to like your page and then engage from there. So I'm going to go into my page likes campaign, and go into the ad set and show you exactly how I did my targeting. Now, how I did my targeting most likely won't apply to your business, and there's a really good chance that you'll need to change it, but it's good to know. So I'm going to click in edit, and that's going to allow me to view. And then just while this is loading, the flow of the campaign is the overall objective. The ad set is how you're targeting and your budget and your placement. And then your ad is your creative. What does it say and what's the picture? So I'm in my ad set right now. And this is one that I duplicated, which means I cloned this ad set. So while it says I had 5 page likes, I did run another one initially, and we had just under, I think it was 150 that we got. So they're very successful, and it's really nice too, because as soon as you need it again, you can just turn it back on and it works really well for you. Typically you can choose between a lifetime and a daily budget. I did $11. That's what fit my budget. I put an end date. I wanted it to start one day and then end basically the next, so 24-hour cycle. I targeted it to people who like my page or a lookalike audience, and I'm going to go over lookalike audiences in just a minute. That's one of our agenda items is custom audiences and lookalike audiences. I also marketed it to anyone who is in the United States, and because I know that people who are more likely to engage with t-shirt buying are going to be teenagers to anyone who's 25, 26, 27, I didn't want it appearing to people who are 65, 70, things like that. So I narrowed it down to 25 plus. I put everyone. Oh, and then one thing too, the default on here for location is everyone in this location. And while that sounds good on paper, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into someone's ads manager account and they have people from China liking their images. And while it's cool that they're liking your images, it really does you no benefit because they're just here touring and it just happens to pop up on their newsfeed. So every time I make an ad, I always adjust it to people who live in this location, because someone who's here visiting Yellowstone National Park or the Golden Gate Bridge from out of the country is not going to buy your product unless you happen to be in the same country as them and you catch them randomly, but there's a very slim chance of that. And then I always will edit the placement too. Now on a page like campaign, it will only display in the feed, but in other types of campaigns like conversion or engagement, you will have more often than not all these boxes available to your disposal. And that's something I'll go over a little bit too. And then there's a few more technical ways to expedite your process down here. I don't really get into those unless I'm really struggling, but that's a topic for another time. That's the basics of an ad set. You're basically telling Facebook who you want to go out and find. And in return, Facebook says, okay, I will deliver this between 150 and 890 people. You always want to make sure your audience definition is fairly large. It will tell you when it's not too. So based on this needle, if you have something that's in the red, it will not run. And if it's something in the yellow, I believe it will also not run. So you need to be somewhere comfortably here in this green setting and it will tell you every time. There have been times where I've ran an ad and it says I'm defined, and then I come back an hour later and it's done nothing. And Facebook has learned that it's down here in the red. So if you're having ads that are not delivering, you need to change up your targeting. And then I'll jump into the ad. And this is just where all the creative happens. So you'll select your Facebook page. And so I selected mine, Empowered Print. You'll put in a photo that's relevant to the page. So I put in a shirt that we sell. And then I also put in the text that's going to display. So very simple. Everyone deserves to feel empowered. You do not want to write a short speech here. In fact, I think it's actually limited on how many characters you can put in here. But I just like to keep it short and simple. And every time I need it to come back on, it works. And then if someone clicks my blue link here, Empowered Print, you can actually dictate where they land. So if you want to send them to your shop or to your photos or just the default page in general, that works. I just prefer to send them to the shop. I'd rather have them land on somewhere that they can give me some money instead. But I mean, that's up to you. It's your choice. That's the very basics of a page like campaign. A couple things I did want to go over: custom audiences and lookalike audiences. And these are really, really powerful ways to drive your engagement through the roof. And what I mean by that is down here, you have the option to put in some detailed targeting. So if I want someone who is patriotic, because we just launched our patriotic t-shirts, I can put that as an interest. And then I can view some suggestions on here too. So I want someone who likes Independence Day, and let's do America, because that's a fun word. These are all different interests. And while that's cool, I would prefer something that's a little bit more dialed in, especially on a page like campaign. So what you can do is, after your page has 100 likes or more, which is why I talk about doing the page like campaign, is because it's important that your page have over 100 likes before you start getting into lookalike audiences. You can create custom audiences. And the way you do that, there's one of two ways. I'm only going to go over this one, and that's because it's the easiest. The other one is just confusing. Is when you are in your ad set, not the ad, but the ad set, you can click Create New under Custom Audiences. Click on Custom Audience. And then it gives you a whole list of options of things you want a custom audience for. So have they hit your website? Do you have it on a CVS file for customer file? Have they been on your app? Was it something that happened offline? For example, someone visited your physical store and you happen to have their location. More often than not, those are not the case. I don't know too many e-commerce people who have their own app built for their store or have a CVS file on hand. Some people do, and that's awesome, and that's a great way to go about it. More often than not, though, I do use this engagement button. And then from there, it really asks, okay, in what way have they engaged with you? There are two that I typically use. If you want to use more, then go for it. The one I use is if I'm running a video, then I want people who have watched my videos up to a certain point. More often than not, though, I will use my Facebook page. And I'm going to pull that up. And I'm going to switch over to Empowered Print. And now it's going to say what qualifications do I want? And I can choose in this drop down. I want anyone who's visited my page, engaged with a post or ad, clicked on a call to action, which are those shop or learn more buttons that appear in ads. Anyone who messaged me, or anyone who saved my page or any post. More often than not, in fact, I've only ever used these two. I've never done a call to action one. I've never done a send message. While they are probably worth experimenting with, the ones that I've used are people who engage with any post or ad. So I'm going to click into that. And then you can also dictate the number of days that it's been. So if you're looking to do a campaign that is relatively, you're trying to get people who hit your web page or engaged with your ad recently, you could do 30 days if you wanted. If you want to span it out a little bit more, you can do 180. The nice thing too is that's a rolling number. So if you enter 30 days and you come back to it 60 days later, it will still have the previous 30 days, not 180 days before from when you set it up. It's just a rolling number. So it keeps learning and learning and learning. Now I already have a custom audience set up, so I'm not going to create that one. But once you have a custom audience built, and I'll go ahead and drop one of mine in, and I just named a very simple thing. So this one is 90 days engaged. You can create a lookalike audience, and lookalikes perform typically very, very well, especially in a page-like or engagement type setting. They can be hit and miss in something like a conversion campaign, but they do very well in a page-like campaign. And I do that by just clicking this drop-down arrow and clicking Create Lookalike Audience. You can do it from here too by clicking Create New and then select Lookalike Audience, but I just feel like this is a more direct way. So we'll click Create Lookalike Audience, and I've already made one for this audience, but I'll show you what would happen. You want to make sure the countries are North America. Now, if I'm a small shop in Boise, Idaho, or Houston, Texas, or something, and haven't done this before, it's very tempting to type in Boise. No, I want it in Boise. This is just a country searching field. So if you want Afghanistan, put in Afghanistan, or if you want India, put in India. But United States is where you want to keep it. And a lot of people get confused about what this bar is. So this is basically measuring your audience size. It's compiling people. I should back up. A lookalike audience is compiling people who meet the same qualifications as your custom audience you just made. So for example, if I create a custom audience of people who have liked or engaged with my ad within the past 30 days, Facebook will identify that audience and say they meet X, Y, and Z. They all have these things in common. And then from there, it will find people in the United States, up to 2.2 million people, who meet those same qualifications and deliver the ad to them too. Now, if you're working in regional things or state by state, don't worry. You don't have to target the whole United States. This is just saying this is the audience size. So don't worry about that. As you expand out, you become less dialed in to the parameters you set by your custom audience. So you're getting wider and more broad interests. And while that sounds good on paper and it's definitely worth experimenting with, I typically only keep it at about 1%. There are times I'll stretch out to 2 and maybe 3 at the max, but I don't like to go much beyond that. So I typically keep it at 1. And then from there, you click create audience, and it will just zap itself right in here in the custom audience spot for you. So that is a page-like campaign. If you've just started a page, you're new to page creation, or you're looking to really build some credibility behind your Facebook page, I highly recommend you do that. Also here, just making a shameless plug for someone that I've worked with as an additional resource for you. One of the greatest things you can do, whether you're new to Facebook and social media marketing, or whether you've been into it for years, you always want some type of mentor. And that can be someone that you connect with through any number of Facebook pages you're a part of, or someone that you go out and pay, like a business consultant or something like that. Whatever it is, whatever floats your boat, that's good. The reason you want this is because when you show your friends and family your work, the instant reaction is, they're my family, I need to be supportive. And while it's awesome to have that, you need someone who's going to give you unbiased feedback and tell you exactly what's going on, what they like, what they don't like. They don't know you. They have you in mind as their best interest. So that's one thing I would recommend doing, is either hire or find someone as a mentor. I work with someone on the Shopify Newbies page. I've worked with him for about a half a month now. He's been awesome. His name is Nick. He posts fairly regularly too. I'm sure you guys have seen him on there. But I hired him. I felt that it was a good move to hire him and just get a second set of eyes on my creative. And he's very straight to the point with me and tells me exactly what he likes and what he doesn't like. And he'll say, well, I've seen that this works. Try going some other way. And so that would be my advice, is looking into something like that. Very quickly, I did want to show you one last thing, and then I will take questions and answers in the chat. If you have any questions, please let me know. Go ahead and type them up and I'll get to them in just a second. I did want to show you engagement campaigns and how those work. Now I'm going to back up a little bit just to show you what I did. I'm in my campaigns. You can see I've got all of them turned off. They're not running except for this one, and it's just scheduled for tomorrow. I'm going to click into my campaign, which will bring up all of my ad sets. You can make as many ad sets as you please. I don't believe that there's actually a cap here. There might be, and someone might jump on me and say that there's a cap, but I've done about 20 in a campaign and have been fine. Now you'll notice I have some of these labeled, and I always just do the date and the platform I'm posting it on. Sometimes I'll talk about like the targeting that I'm doing in my ad set, but typically I only need to know the platform that they're on. And then right off the bat too, you'll notice that I have multiple platforms, so Facebook and Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram. I hope that's not news to anyone, but Facebook owns Instagram, and that means that as a service of Ads Manager, you can post on Instagram regardless of if you have an account or not, and I'll show you how to do that. So this is a post I made on June 6th. I put $7 behind it, so not much. I just wanted to build up some social credibility behind a post. You'll notice I targeted the West Coast. I made it so that everyone who was in this location, I wanted to hit everyone. And then I narrowed it. Again, I know where my t-shirt buyers are. This one was made for women. A couple things too. These ads, or these detailed targetings that I made, they're getting removed, which is super frustrating. And these are all purchase behaviors, which is data that Facebook collected and said, okay, these people meet these certain qualifications. They're healthy and fit, they're shopping, and these guys also drop some major coin on Facebook ads. So please just note that most behaviors and purchase behaviors in specific are leaving. So This ad set is basically in vain now, and I won't be able to use it again. As far as placement goes, I didn't do too much on here. I just put it on Facebook. There are a number of places where you can place your ads as far as an engagement campaign goes in the platform. And if you're confused about any of them, Facebook is super helpful and provides you a picture of exactly what it looks like, because we've all been in them before. We've all clicked in instant articles. We've all seen in-stream videos. We've all seen suggested videos. So it knows exactly what you're doing. And then Instagram too, you can also post to Instagram. So if I wanted to change that up, it will post in the feed. Instagram is an awesome place if you're looking to target youth. Kind of a rule of thumb that myself and the majority of marketers that you'll run into is that money lives on Facebook and content lives on Instagram. And I'm sure that there will be someone who shoots me down and says, I've made thousands of dollars on Instagram, and that's sweet. But if you're trying to sell high quality items, Facebook is my personal preference, but do not be afraid to try both, because you may run into something on Instagram that just kills it. And that's awesome. So that's how I set up my custom audience on this one. Let's just take one more, for example, see if we can get out of those behaviors. Okay, so I did this one, $10. It looks like over just a couple hours. So I started in the morning, I ended it in the night. You can see the results here in this tab. I had 449 likes on that image. And that's an awesome way to build up more of anyone who's engaged in the last year. That's 449 more people that have been added to that list and now know what my brand my brand is and like my page. I hit anyone in the United States. I refined my audience a little bit more. And then I also did some editing here. I just kept it in the news feed. That tends to be what works really well for me. But again, feel free to try it out. One thing I didn't touch on, and that's Audience Network. Audience Network can be super effective, but I don't typically like spending too much money in Audience Network. Essentially what it is you've all clicked into an article on the New York Times or a number of other instant articles or things like that, and you've seen your local dry cleaner advertising in there, and or your local auto shop or car dealership or things like that. And we all wonder to ourselves, wow, that's cool that they got an ad in the New York Times. Well, it's not really an ad through the New York Times. It's a partner of Facebook, and you can advertise through them. So if you're looking for more organic posting or what seems to be organic posting, Audience Network is a good option. And then I'll just show you the creative on this one too. That's one thing I'll go over in future ads is creative and copy and things like that. And we can talk more about that. I just did a flash sale on this. So I tagged the products, I put in plenty of emojis, I put in a promo code, and then you can see down here, 460 likes. So this is a really good campaign to run to boost credibility, and then run it on top of a campaign, or excuse me, a conversion campaign. And that way it seems like it's almost like an endorsement, like, hey, these 460 people purchased this, or they like it. I need to get on board with this too. And in future webinars, I'll go over how to do things like that. So that pretty much wraps up everything I had on the agenda for this time. Next time, I plan to go over the Facebook Pixel, how to install it in your store, and how to read the data on that. For those of you that don't know what the Facebook Pixel is, it monitors and tracks Facebook and Instagram users' activity on your website. And if you don't have it on your website, please get it installed before the next one. If you're using Shopify, it's super easy, and there's an awesome YouTube video about it. You just type in how to install Facebook Pixel Shopify, and it's literally the first video that pops up. But I'll be going over the Pixel, how to monitor its performance, and things like that, as well as conversion campaigns and how to set those up.